Hello, I'm Andy Gilchrist with AskAndyAboutClothes.com, and we have the pleasure of talking with Todd Shelton of Todd Shelton Clothing. Welcome, Todd. How are you doing?
Welcome. Thanks for having me, Andy. I'm doing well.
Good. I'm so excited because we introduced your company to our Ask Andy members on the forum, and they went crazy for your products, especially the trousers and shirts. Tell us how and when and why you started your company.
I started the company in 2002. I moved to New York City from Tennessee in 2000 to start a men's clothing catalog. At that time, I was interested, probably was inspired by J. Crew as a child. Decided I wanted to do that as a career, a catalog. The internet had really not started at that time, or e-commerce had not started. So I came up here to do this thinking it was going to be a catalog, and then e-commerce happened in 2005. We launched our first website, and that's a brief history of how I got started in the business.
That's great. I think you have done quite well, and the future looks bright as well. You've got a really unique marketing structure in that you differentiate by building long-term relationships with your customers. And we'll talk about this a little bit more because I think it's really fabulous, is your unique fit requirements. With your in-house factory there, you can get a really good experience for your customers. Talk about your customers and your relationships, and then we'll kind of talk about fit.
Sure. Well, one thing that we do know is that the world doesn't need another clothing company. But what I believe the world did need was a company that addressed fit. So most of what we have available to us is small, medium, large, extra large, and pants maybe in one or two fits with waist, but not many inseam options. So really what we set out to do is right out of the gates in 2002, our first product had in-between sizing, which was small, medium, medium, large, in between those core standard sizes. As time went on, and we decided to get into the factory business, which was in 2012, after we had been making in the States for quite a while, we decided to get into the factory. Really, the factory opened up so much more to us as far as what we could do for a customer. A customer would ask us, can you give me a rise adjustment? And initially we hadn't really thought about it. And, yeah, we have a factory. We can do that for you. So we started giving rise adjustments. And, over time, we've just been able to figure out what a guy really needs, within the scale of, building a business, is that we're not custom. We just have a lot of fit options. So that's how we got really involved with fit. I'm a fit guy. That's the thing that I love about clothing. My style is pretty classic and simple, but where I like to differentiate my personal wardrobe and the wardrobe for our customers is through fit and then fabrics. Color comes into it, but we do offer a range of colors. It's not so, designer specific.
I probably get the most questions on the internet about fit. The guy's got long arms and, small shoulders, and it's really a big problem. The other thing just to touch on here, that your sales are no wholesale or retail locations, just all through your e-commercial store or at the factory. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're right about that. Absolutely. And that's initially the plan for the company was a direct to consumer business. Like I mentioned earlier, it was a catalog business back in 2000, or the idea of a catalog business. And then e-commerce really made it available, made a lot more available. So we're really fortunate, but we've never wholesale. Never had a desire to wholesale because you lose that connection with the customer. So you mentioned earlier about long-term relationships. Really, that's what we're built on with our direct-to-consumer business. And what we do in terms of fit is conducive to long-term relationships. We'll spend, a first order with a new customer is something that there's a labor of love in that. It takes probably a lot of back and forth to really figure it out. Sometimes some guys get it right out of the gate, and it depends on how tricky they are with their fits or what their fit requirements are. But once we get them into a fit that they like, then ordering becomes easy for them. That's where the relationship comes in. They start out with one fit. They may want to tweak it over time. We have so many options where they can tweak it, but we try to make it simple for them. And our customer support team here does a real good job of building those relationships and then helping the guys navigate all those fit options without it becoming overwhelming. That's one thing we want to make sure it doesn't become overwhelming, where it is simple. But as you mentioned, the relationship component is enabled by the direct-to-consumer business, and that is lost in the wholesale market. And,
absolutely, yeah. You can't have a direct customer relation through wholesale. I think that's really smart marketing and bright for the future of this. Because that's where it is. I don't think you could. I see a lot of stores that are online, started online, and then they're coming back to retail locations. I just don't think that's going to work. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but the other thing, well, I've always said that fit, you can buy the cheapest sport coat in the world, but if you have it fitted to you, it's going to be perfect. It's going to look good. The fit is the most important thing. And you do something unique.
I agree.
You do something really unique that kind of blew me away with your shirt purchases. If I buy a shirt from you, you send me out two sizes just to see what works the best. I just can't. That's so brilliant.
Thank you. We developed. We know that we have to make it easy for a customer to be able to figure out and navigate our fit options. And one thing we did develop for shirts specifically, and it's probably the most innovative of our fit tools, is called Fit Kit. And we ship you out 2 shirts, and each shirt would be, let's say that you said, Andy, you're a large. Well, we would send you a large, and then we would also send you maybe a medium large if you skewed on the medium side, or we would send you a large extra large if you skewed on the bigger side of large. But once you had those 2 shirts, each shirt has multiple fit options built in. So like one sleeve is our slim sleeve, but the other sleeve is our standard sleeve. So you can look in the mirror and simultaneously determine which sleeve you like, right? One sleeve is a 34 sleeve, one sleeve is a 35 length. We go in half-inch increments, so you can really probably figure out if you're a 33.5 or a 36 from that. Also, there's overall length options you can look at, and slim fit, stomach fit options on that. One collar is a point collar, and the other side is a button-down collar. So you can take this fit kit, try it on, and really figure out where you need to be.
That's one of the biggest obstacles to buying online, I think, for men, is one size doesn't fit all. And like I said before, I get an awful lot of questions about, and they talk about buying a shirt online and then getting it tailored, which is okay, but I think your method is state of the art there, and it's going to really do well. You've got a lot of marketing ideas here that I'd never even heard of, and I think are just fabulous. Explain anti-inventory to us.
Well, there's a lot of talk about sustainability and, just society and there's certain industries that are out in front on that. It seems like, clothing is the plastics industry is really taking the hit right now. Oil, but clothing is starting to become scrutinized, and I think it's going to continue to be scrutinized. They say it's the second largest polluter of the environment, from an industry standpoint. So I think that as we move forward, I think that, the best way for us to be sustainable is to not over manufacture. So I'm a proponent of stopping over manufacturing. We see it if you go into a Gap or a Banana Republic or some of the mall stores, you see over manufacturing really at its worst. So a quantity of one, or anti-inventory, I believe will be the future. I think it's way out there in the front, but I believe it will be the future at some point, just due to the sustainability requirements we'll have to adopt in the future. So anti-inventory really says to me, we're not making anything waste. We're going to have minimal inventory. We do have inventory. If you were to order a size 32 jean and then say, Todd, I need a 33, or I need a slim ankle instead of a straight ankle, we're gonna make sure you're happy, and that's gonna come back into it. We don't have zero inventory. We're just anti-inventory, and so it's done from a couple of standpoints, from a business model for us, from a cost standpoint, but also from a sustainability, looking into the future perspective. That we hope more brands would adopt this and stop the waste that we see in our industry.
There was just an article, I think, in the Wall Street Journal, and something that shocked me. I had no idea that a lot of the big retail manufacturers, whatever doesn't sell during the sales, they burn. I mean, can you imagine the effect on the environment with burning hundreds of thousands of articles of clothing? It just
Absolutely.
was kind of shocking to me, and I guess it's been going on for a while, but maybe since it's out now, there might be some pushback on that practice.
I read that same article, Andy, and I think it was coming from Burberry and H&M were the two big.
Big, and I just thought, my gosh, just if they could give that to charity or something, it would be better off. You also have an exceptional focus on the employment, since your tailoring people are all in New York area. We'll talk about the location in a minute. And the fabrics you buy, you're very picky, which I think is wonderful, about the countries it comes from, the work practices, the state of the factories. Can you give us a little more detail on that whole policy?
Sure. The first part you were talking about, our the direct employment and employees is so we're located right outside Manhattan. And we're a Made in USA brand. I mean, we've planted our flag of making here. And one of the things that's a concern to me is just how desirable these sewing jobs are. You know, one of the reasons we see a lot of offshoring of this is, for one, the cost, but two, people, just Americans don't want to do these types of jobs anymore. That's what people say. A lot of it has to do with what it pays, and then the stability of the job. It's like, is this going to be around if our government, opens up trade in certain areas, right? So there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to go into it from a stability standpoint. But I look at it from a standpoint of, how do we create a job here that's going to be desirable for the people that work here? And none of our operators are doing piecework. So in a traditional sewing factory, a person will sit down in a sewing machine and they may have 1,000 units beside them, and they were sewing a zipper or they were sewing a hem, or they had one operation and they would do that all day long. And I just don't see that as being a desirable job. And certainly it's not something that I would want an employee of Todd Shelton to do. So all of our seamstresses know how to cut and sew and making a garment start to finish. So it's not just they know how to do one or two operations. They know how to make a garment start to finish. And so they'll start out with a small batch of, say, 8 to 10 customers, and they'll get their cards printed out of all the fit options they need, and they will cut and sew those garments start to finish. So at the end of the day, if they started, and maybe it takes 2 days or 1 day to finish their batch, but they started with just fabric and some customers' requirements, and then at the end of it, they have these world-class garments. So that's how we're structured here internally, as far from a employment standpoint, and how I see these jobs and these careers here internally. As far as what you mentioned about fabric, and this has been a policy of ours probably for 10 years. We understand that there's differences of how in labor and environmental differences between the United States and some other countries, especially in Europe and some other areas where there's strict standards of labor and environment. And there's certain things that are meant to protect both of those. There are certain laws that are meant to protect both. And then there's countries that are involved in apparel or fabric manufacturing that may not have, they may have those laws on the book, but they're certainly not enforced. And so one thing we do is we buy fabrics only from countries that have similar labor and environmental standards to the United States. And it's just one way for us to ensure, you never know what's happening across the world. But it's one way for us to ensure and have peace of mind that our fabrics and the fabrics our customers are going to wear are made in places that took care of not only their people, but took care of the environment around them at the same time. So that's our policy on fabrics.
Well, it's great to see that somebody in the industry still has morals. That's great.
Thanks so much.
The mass production of clothing, I have seen that in Italy one time, where you have a whole gigantic room full of sewing machines, and they're each doing little piecework, and it's got to be boring as heck.
I just don't see it sustainable here. Yep.
No, it's really easy. I like your online site. It's really easy to order off there. It's very clear, which is important for male customers, but you also sell ladies goods. If you live in the area in New York or visit, can we come by your showroom and look at things and order?
Absolutely. You can schedule a factory visit. We'd love for customers to come in, and we'll give you a tour of the facility. We'll show you how your specific garment is made. You can meet the team. Just get to know our brand a little bit better, and you can get fitted and shop. So absolutely, we highly encourage that.
Well, I throw down a challenge to our members on the forum. I ask for somebody to go by and maybe take some pictures of your factory. I think that would be a great little feature to put up on the forum.
We'll be good hosts.
Yeah?
We'll be a good host if someone comes.
Good. I'm sure you will. Getting back to the basics, your products really were well accepted when we introduced them on the Ask Andy forum. And can you tell us a little more about the pants, the flannel shirts, the regular shirts? And I don't think the members realized the whole thing about fit. I think they were just looking at the products, which sounds like you've done really well picking the right items there.
Thank you. Our tagline is practical clothes, and it's something that it's an underwhelming statement. However, it's something that speaks to what we do here. Generally, our guy has a career. He's a busy guy. He's not necessarily looking to stand out, but he knows the value of what nice clothes and good fit does for his personal life and his career. So he's willing to invest in that. But as you mentioned, our color palette is fairly basic or highly wearable. Everything is kind of meant to go together, right? So if you do buy a shirt from us, the chances are it's going to match up to the pants, and within reason, of course. But we're looking to create a collection where a guy buys a high frequency wear product from us, and it's a term we talk about here often, especially in design. It's high frequency wear. We want somebody to buy something from us and wear it often. There are times that we offer more fun products that are probably lower frequency wear, but the bulk of what we do and our true love is high frequency wear garments.
Well, practical clothing means that you'll never do a runway show, I guess.
You're right.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm thinking, how could you wear that to a job interview? But,
it's a great point.
Well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. I think the folks on the Ask Andy forum will already really like you and like your products. Anything else you'd like to cover that we've missed here?
No, I think you covered a lot of ground, and I really appreciate you grasping what we do, because you have a good grasp of what we do here. I would like to say that my team and I are excited about being a part of your community, and hopefully any questions that come up in the future, we can answer them there, and we'll continue to learn from your community. That's something we're excited about as well. I
learn something from the forum every single day. Just amazing what those members know. So, well, this was great. I really enjoyed talking to you, and we'll have a good time here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andy. And if you're in the area, we'd love for you to stop by.
I think I just put it in my bucket list list. So
Awesome.
you may see me soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.